So in part 3, the last thing I mentioned was that I flatlined when I was 18 years old. I took a drug overdose. I walked around like a zombie for a week. And what exactly happened in that week? That's one of the things that's really critical. So I want to tell you about something, right, that people don't want to talk about. But let's go somewhere that we're all familiar with, that we can all relate to. Do you remember the boogeyman, the monster in the bed? Most of us are familiar with the monster in the bed, the boogeyman. Comes in on a nightly basis and scares the living shit out of you. Mum and Dad always says it's a dream, go back to sleep, there's nothing there. But our imagination runs wild. As a child, when we're innocent, our imagination runs wild. In the 60s, this man had a light or a tongue in the bed. In the 70s, right, it was werewolf or Frankenstein. In the 80s, it was Godzilla or King Kong. Then the 90s became zombies, then aliens and monsters, okay? Monsters and aliens. Aliens, zombies and monsters. You know, there's a survey done about this. An extraordinary survey, okay, worldwide through schools. And you know this survey said that 87% of children had a zombie, an alien or monster in their room, either on a poster or a figure, or even a toy, or they were on social media platform and had an iPhone or a smartphone by 4 or 5 years old and looking on these things on these platforms and screens. That's what the study showed. So we can see how things are programmed with a wild imagination. We can see why people have this wild imagination. Through televisions and screens and social media platform and figures and ornaments and posters and social media platform and TV. It's that easy to see, it's not funny. When I was a child, my brother, he imagines a lion under his bed. My mum would come running in and said, go back to sleep, it's just a dream. Turn out the lights. And I sat there, I looked at my mum, I looked at my brother, and then I saw the dark shadow in the corner with beady green eyes like a hologram, like a shadow. And he moved straight over to me and looked straight down in my eyes because I could see him. When people take drugs are called truth serum. Meth's called the most powerful truth serum in the world that opens up your perception with your third eye to think dimensionally, remote viewing, telekinesis, mental telepathy, and ESP with all 27 senses. Now, drugs are known as truth serums and a lot of different adverse effects, and we create most monikers for drugs in our own biological system. When we think instinctively and think out of the mind, we create the psychedelic effects and the ephedrine effect with meth. When we oxidize our blood with the sacred secretion, a child creates that from 0 to 15 years old and then it dies. That sacred secretion creates 2 molecules of metallic preserved DNA. When you think instinctively and you're naturally and organically, a child can mastermind a computer game between 3 and 7 and respond 7 times faster than an adult can with the natural ability, the light bulb idea, the picture 1,000 with the guides of life, with the universal language. You see, a child, he doesn't know what's going on with the boogeyman, but he knows the influence he's shit scared of from that spiritual thing that's in the corner somewhere, something in the atmosphere, something with an outside influence on your reality that has this profound effect in a child. Your parents, this is what happens in real life. This is what happens in real life. It's so easy to explain. A child, when he's 3 years old and a stranger comes to the door and is a bad person, but a damn good mouthpiece with a high IQ and very sophisticated with his knowledge, he can manipulate your parents in 10 seconds flat. And when you know it's a bad person, you run to the corner and you cannot be manipulated because you can feel it. And you're very familiar with that feeling because of the boogeyman. That scares the living shit out of you. So he scares you. And your parents can manipulate in 10 seconds flat because they become inverted with a high IQ in their consciousness and mental process with the voice of mind that tells them to do that. The voice of mind solves me instinctive clear and dogmas for that reason. When a good person comes to the door, a child and a dog will run straight towards that person in a heartbeat before they even open their mouth, in a heartbeat with adrenaline, because they oxidize their blood. They use the third eye to feel things with an outside influence on the reality, so they can feel the truth in a heartbeat with adrenaline without thinking about it before they even open their mouth, because they can feel that spirit behind that person. And then the parent turns around and says, oh, the dog's taking too, I don't know why. Because they're inverted into their mind with the Bushman that told them to do that. So they get manipulated, sin, sick, and splat by the best mouthpiece in the world, the one they trust the most. Okay, the smoothest operator and the best manipulator in the world that you don't even know. Child sex offenders are the best ones in the world. And that can be your best friend for 20 years or your uncle, and you'll never know. That's the kind of people that manipulate you in 10 seconds flat. So easy, it's not funny. But someone else don't even need to open up their mouth because their aura is perfect. You can feel that in the light, you can feel it in the most positive feels, and you can feel it in the heartbeat with adrenaline before they even open up their mouth. So, Bruce Lee could master his mind by 24 years old and fight 12 people back by karate blindfolded and block every punch and respond 7 times faster because he knew how to counteract a 0.7 reaction. With his eyes wide shut, blindfolded, his third eye opens up with a dimensional field where he can feel the truth, and then he can respond 7 times faster with a counteraction of 0.4 second reaction. So can a child when he masterminds a computer game and moves 7 times as an adult because he has that ability, and he creates the sacred secretion. And the secretion dies by the time he's 15. But you see, masterminds in this world that can master their mind and not master by the mind education, they don't go in reverse psychology with a high IQ trapped in their consciousness and their mind, like 98.7% of people do in dormancy. They can't use their biofields and their biosphere to feel things like a child can and like Bruce Lee can, blindfolded. And when you're one of these people, you're met with the greatest resistance by the rest of the whole public. But we're the ones who create the miracles of the most authentic DNA in the world with 24 chromosomes, and your 24 chromosomes in dormancy. You live in a 5-sense world in your mind and consciousness that's only a millimeter, a person, an illusion, imagination, and your imagination runs wild. Well, I didn't from the day I was come into this world because I was drowned in the bathtub at 2 years old. So I was very alert, alive, awake and aware with the myth effect, which is the adrenaline that you create with adrenochrome. And adrenochrome oxidizes your blood and plasmas your blood to think outside the mind with a natural ability, a natural secretion, a sacred secretion, right? That goes down your spinal cord with this Neuralink, which is the tree of life inside you, right? The Neuralink that gives you the power to feel with your gut feeling survival mode, the outside influence your reality, okay? The very preservation mode for life, survival mode. Survival mode actually two modes of mentality. And that's why, right, the biggest think tank in the world in 14 raids that they were committing on me, right, under 100% surveillance. On the 14th raid, they used direction microphones and they discovered something. I could outsmart maneuver them in every single raid, and I could clean up before they come out there for one reason. I could feel it for the atmosphere. I could feel it with my gut feeling survival mode. And it's recorded by the Federal Police and the National Crime Authority that went to Parliament House to seek authority to unleash a think tank, the biggest think tank in the world, with these abilities, right, to understand me more correctly. And they caused a Star Champion inquiry on the 1st of January 1999 with 105 people arrested, and I was number one most wanted. And they wrote down the Gatekeeper report, okay, the smartest mastermind they've ever set their eyes on the RSVP list, research succeeded with perfection. Because I could feel an influence when they put pen to paper in the courtroom to get a warrant out, right, to get a warrant out to come and raid me. With direction microphones, they realized I had a gut feeling so powerful, I could itemize the frequencies and that kind of vibration with a universal language and mental telepathy and ESP. Remote viewing, I could see them writing the documents in the courtroom with my name on it. So I could see the picture that tells me 1,000 words are going to lie to me. The outside influence, the third eye, the window to your soul, the picture that tells you cannot lie to you. The best ideas in the world always comes from out of the blue. And that's where it comes from, through this dimensional fields, where I can see the future, I can see right into what they're doing and writing those documents, and I could clean up faster than they could think. And they knew that with direction microphones when I was talking to my wife and said, hey, I could feel someone's coming. And then I started to see things. And I said to Mum, listen, they're in the courtroom right now writing out a warrant. They'll be here in an hour. Clean up now, fast as lightning. They discovered every word I transpired with my wife or anyone that's in the house at that time, recorded with evidence. That's a miracle. That's what you're created with in your DNA, with your biofields and your biosphere, and they don't want you to know. So please pay attention to the next part. Follow my page, Street Wisdom Bold page, and the Wisdom page, Street Wisdom Bold page on Facebook. Listen to my information. No one in the world is coming with this information. Watch part 5.